Hey everyone, been a minute since I've done a live on here. Just basically focusing on the other platform, TikTok, because you get more followers pretty much, and it's a good tool to use to get get the word out, the truth. Even though they are heavily censoring it now, and I want to say about 8 or 9 months ago, it started like we were all starting to get hits on our violations on our TikToks, because there was definitely a change in regime, and we know that TikTok was going to be banned, and it was down for 17 hours, which I believe was the changeover, the handing over the keys officially to whichever entity took over TikTok. And so Trump didn't save TikTok. He basically made it yet another MAGA propaganda outpost for his bullshit. And so people are saying that Meta is controlling TikTok, and I guess the servers are used in their Utah facility, and I think South Carolina, I think it was Utah though. So I mean, there was that, and you can't basically anything. You can't say anything that is the truth. So if you say anything about Musk, or you say anything about Trump or the Zionists, good luck. You're going to get flagged, and well, ultimately my account was taken down, and I just came, up with another one, my backup. So there's that. They're not going to shut me up easy. And I will never go down silently. They're going to have to use full force. And, greater is he protecting me, and greater is he that is in me than that which is in the world. So there's that. But a lot of things to talk about. The State of the Union speech last night, which I can tell you the State of the Union in one word: shit. It's for shit. That's what it is. We are under imperialistic colonial tyranny. It's a dictatorship. And people can say what they want, but I'm at least 99.9% sure that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. I mean, the prophecies are, you can't make this stuff up. There's no other person on the world stage, past, present, or, looking that has fulfilled as much prophecy as he has so far. Even down to his name. I mean, the Bible tells you the name of the Antichrist. The little horn. What's Trump? It's a little horn. And if you look that word up in the concordance, from that word in the Bible, and take the Strong's number and match it, it comes up Karen, Qeren, and that's literally in reference to a musical horn, a small musical horn. As in, it would be a shofar in biblical times, but that was a trump. So the sound that the shofar made was a trump. So the little horn, the boastful little horn. And we all know that he likes gold. And he has numerous depictions of Apollo on his ceiling on the 66th floor of Trump Tower. And we know Apollo, also Apollyon, is the king of the bottomless pit, also known as Abaddon, as in a bad Don. So Abaddon, who likens himself to Apollyon, Apollo, is the little horn. And Donald, by the way, means world ruler. And he's orange. I mean, come on, you can't make that up. He's orange, red orange. I mean, remember the little cartoon depiction of the devil in the Tom and Jerry cartoons, where he'd pop on Tom's shoulder and tell him to do this or that, while the angel would try to get him to do the right thing? Yeah, well, The only thing he's missing is the pointy tail, and I'm sure his pointy tail is so small it wouldn't be seen anyways. And this pompous piece of crap is wanting to impose tariffs on other countries, which doesn't really affect them as much as it does you, the consumer, myself included. And he's going after Canada. I mean, Canada, whose world symbol of power is a maple leaf. I mean, Canadians are so polite. Like, how are they even a threat? This is ridiculous. And if you were in New York, Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania, and Detroit in 2003, I'm sure you remember the blackout that we had. God, the magpies are noisy. Anyway, I'm sure you remember the blackout. It was not good. It lasted 2 or 3 days. Now, if they shut off the power at Niagara, because that's our grid, it will be devastating to the economies of New York. But mostly affected will be Detroit, because we are still a huge power player in the economy, the big three. Even though, yeah, a lot of parts, a lot of things are coming over from other countries, Detroit is a big player in the economy, and they've been targeting Detroit for years. And Trump wants to do all these tariffs, hoping that Canada will fold and want to concede to his aggressive power and become the 51st state. And then he wants Greenland, which, if you're in the truth movement, you know what that's all about. Mars rover. I mean, a lot of the territory there kind of looks like the terrain of the moon or Mars, with a lens filter, of course. And we all know the moon landing was in a studio, but just some of the pictures they've shown us either come from the desert or Greenland. I mean, I can't understand how people do not see that he is without a doubt the Antichrist. I mean, you look at your Bible, you know prophecy, then you should see it. There's no excuse. And these MAGA people that call themselves Christians, we all know which church they are. They're blind, they're naked, and they're fornicating with another church. And their leader is Paula White Cain. She's a harlot in herself. She's a Jezebel spirit. I mean, you got the Jezebel spirit, you got the Jezebel church, and you have the harlot that rides the beast, who adorned in scarlet and red. And for those of you who have not heard, Pope Francis has been in the hospital with double pneumonia. In fact, I saw one report or one video claiming that people close to him in the hospital, that he was screaming, seeing the demons at the end of his bed, which I don't doubt that at all. I just haven't seen much said else about it, but it's pretty bizarre to even have heard a story like that. So it's not looking good for him, and they're rehearsing his funeral, which, if you want my opinion, I think the guy's been deceased already, and I think they're gonna wait till maybe the Ides of March to basically let everyone else know. So you have, the Ides of March. That's when Julius Caesar was exed, shall we say. And wouldn't it be ironic that one of the first Roman emperors, which is Julius Caesar, go out on March 15th, and then have the final emperor of Rome, which is the Holy Roman Empire, Pope Francis, which is through a prophecy of Saint Malachi, wrote a prophecy, and to the letter predicted all the characteristics of the popes and names similar and stuff. And yeah, we could dispute it and say, oh, well, they were looking at a list and they were trying to get people that, fit the bill for it. I mean, but the guy saw it many years ago. So, I mean, either way, it happened. And he's the final pope. Because I guess it's in St. Paul's Basilica, there's, within the dome, there's all these pictures of all the emperors from the beginning, popes. And there's no more picture spaces left. So, are they going to announce a one world religion? Is it going to be official that Donald Trump is the Antichrist? Because we all know that he was invited to the Sanhedrin, by the Sanhedrin, I should say, to Israel to discuss the building of a court, a divine court to oversee the moral principles on humanity. So basically the Noahide laws. And that the main court that will oversee everything, the affairs of the world, which will be in Israel, the Council of 70 Nations, which the Sanhedrin in Israel wish to replace the UN with. Let's not forget that the UN's military headquarters is at Mount Hermon, where the fallen angels, took their oath. I mean, there's no coincidence. This is prophecy. And it's jumping off the pages. We are literally running out of prophecy, which means we are running out of time. I haven't seen the two witnesses yet. But of course, yet, Trump isn't officially announced, but we all know where this is going. And look what he wants to do in Gaza. Isn't Daniel 11:45 say he will pitch his tabernacle between the sea and the holy mountain? Gaza. He wants to build Trump Gaza. I'm sure by now most of you have seen the video. And yet, MAGA will defend Orange Adolf. I mean, we're fighting, there is no Democrat Party. There is no Republican Party. They are all beholden to the Zionists. And the Zionists are nothing more than imperial Jews who wish to have ownership and control of the entire world under their Talmud, which is nothing more than a Babylonian, hateful, racist book created in Babylon. And it's basically man's interpretation, so a rabbi's interpretation of what they think the Torah should say, which the Torah is God's divine, rule. And, so there's that. I mean, everywhere you look, and all these, you look left, right, blue, red party, the majority of them take handouts from AIPAC. That's a foreign entity. They're a foreign, lobbyist for a foreign interest. Israel doesn't pay taxes, but we're giving them free healthcare and free education. And then yet they own all your corporations. They own your media, they own the entertainment industry, and they have got our government by the balls. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but it is what it is. It's the truth. And that's what we're up against. We're up against them. They are the most hateful, racist people, and that's because their bloodline they're the Canaanites. We don't have giants anymore, but through some DNA mutation, their average height, but they are the bloodline of Satan and the fallen angels. So their Messiah, who many of them are saying Donald Trump is Messiah, is the Antichrist. And we all know that the one card they haven't played officially yet is the strong delusion of, well, we call it Project Bluebeam, but the fake alien invasion, which I'm sure that's coming. And I'm sure there will be a meeting between Trump and what they call the Galactic Federation, which we know are the fallen angels. And all of a sudden they'll say, well, the whole idea of religion, like Christianity and Islam and the Eastern philosophies, they will all be considered null and void. And they'll say that you know, all your problems begin with religion, and you need to get rid of this religion, and that we're your creators, you know, the Anunnaki, New Age crap. And people will buy into it. And I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that the majority of them will be these lukewarm MAGA Christians. Because their hearts aren't with Christ anyways. And as I've said many times before, they confess with their lips, but their hearts are far from Him. And because they're more concerned with worldly gains and wealth, that God gave them over to a reprobate mind, that they will believe a lie. And that's what is going on. And if you can't see it, I'm sorry. It is what it is, though. You can't change it. And, you know, it's like the old adage, you can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. And I don't care how he spruces up or makes up all this, you know, that he's in the interest of Christianity, and Christianity is this or that. He's not a Christian. He even said he wasn't a Christian. I don't know how many times we, in the real truth community, we, the real Christians, have to go over this. But everything that man says, the MAGA Christians defend. The man literally said that he could go blow someone away in the street and people would still support him. He wouldn't lose one supporter. How can you defend that? How can you defend a man who wants to build a resort for the wealthy in Gaza and displace thousands and millions of people? Not to mention there's been like around 500,000 people that have been taken in Gaza because of the IDF, because of the IOF, because of imperialism and colonialism. Netanyahu, Greater Israel. And for those of you supporting the Ukraine, there's something you should know about that too. Zelensky is an Orthodox Chabad Uj. Any of you know Pig Latin? Uj. Figure that one out. And the people, he sent his own people out of the country. And basically the people that are allegedly fighting in this war, and I don't know, I've never seen footage, and the footage I have seen, it looks like footage from movies. I don't think anything's really taken place there. I could be wrong though, because we're not being shown anything. And we know that the Ukraine had a lot to do with these biolabs now, didn't we? So, put two and two together. The math ain't mathin'. And the math that is mathin', no one's bothering to count the beans. So, well, maybe the Ujays. They like to count beans. They're all about hoarding the beans. And so you got Orange Adolf, the Antichrist, Orange Julius, who wants to give tax cuts to people that have billions of dollars. They own all the wealth. None of them don't pay taxes anyways. They got some shrewd schmuck doing their books for them and cooking it, and all these deductions and the fake charities and shell companies that they have to deduct everything, and they get even more of a tax break. Meanwhile, people like you and I are paying more. And a lot of us are getting our medical cut. A lot of us are, you know, I mean, veterans, people that fought for our country, they're going to be losing benefits. I mean, that affects my family, that affects my husband. But yet billionaires, like the people living on Jefferson here in Detroit or Bloomfield Hills, they have yachts and nice homes and summer homes. I think spring is in the air, and so is a revolution. And if you're in the Detroit area, let's talk. Because enough's enough. You know, we know we're at the end. The sand is running out of the hourglass. And it is foretold that there will be a great battle between evil and good. And, you know, the world's going to be divided. The world's taking sides. And I know there's a lot more of us than there are of them. That's why they've wanted us divided on so many issues. Ethnicity, religion, political ideologies, whatever. they've always wanted us divided. And that's because if we stood together, united, we outnumber them. It's 99 to 1%. Do the math. Because they've considered all of this. And that's why they keep us apart. That's why the whole CB19 BS during 2020. And they wanted you staying in your homes like scared little whiny crybabies. And they wanted you standing 6 feet apart. Because they know that the oral field around us that connects and brings us together. Like, have you ever gone somewhere and you just felt the urge to talk to someone and you start talking about all the stuff that's going on in the world and you're connecting, make a connection? I know I have. I have the gift of gab. There's no shortage of that, and I've never met a stranger. But, I mean, that's what it's all about. The oral field stretches 5 feet from your body. And so standing 6 feet apart, if you had to go out, of course, if you're going to go out, you're going to wear the silencer, the face diaper, full of nasty germs. And people are still wearing them. I don't get it. They're still wearing the muzzle. And it's a specific group of people that are doing it, and I don't understand why. I just don't understand it. Because we all know what it was all about. It was basically a symbolism to keep quiet. They wanted people kept quiet. But we all know what Trump was doing. We all know that Trump's an imperialist and a dictator, and all the things that were going on in the last 4 years under allegedly Biden were remarkably lining up with what Trump wanted. He wanted to outlaw and make it illegal to be homeless. Imagine! It's already a punishment. Ask anyone who's been there. I have. I haven't necessarily slept on the street, but I've been in transition. And that's already seems like it's punishment enough, and they make it impossible to own anything. They want you to rent. And the rent that they're charging is ridiculous. It's greed. It's blatant, making it so you can't rent. And then you have your credit score, and pretty soon a social credit score. And then you have, if you've ever been evicted, which these greedy landlords, if they're not bad enough as it is, if you make any kind of criticism of them or make a complaint on them, they come after you. And God forbid you show, not by, you wanting to necessarily, but end up getting injured and proving their lack of taking care of things the way they should, then they really come after you. And it makes it even harder, because then they take you to court and really make it impossible to find a place. I mean, so you're going to outlaw homelessness. That's already a punishment in it of itself. And who gives you the right to say that you own this land that God created, or I have to buy a license to fish and catch fish that God created in water that God created? You see where I'm going with this? This is colonial imperialism, and it's got Zionism written all over it. I'm telling you, the 1% billionaires that own everything are the ooze. You look at your corporation, who owns your corporations, you look at most of your landlords, the bankers, they own everything. And they think they're better than you because they contain a bloodline, a fallen angel bloodline, that they think that they're superior to you. So basically God's creation, which is us, man, woman, is inferior to them, which they are part fallen angel, who possess knowledge and intelligence that man was not privy to. But they made man privy to it as long as they could, in a sense, molest their daughters, the daughters of men. And that's how you got the giants on the earth. And through DNA manipulation, chimera, and all this other stuff, they managed to maintain walking around in skin suits like everybody else. And no one bats an eye. But you will know them by their fruits, and their fruits are rotten. And when's enough enough? Well, why do we always talk about the weather? What are we doing about it? I mean, some of you have got to be tired of this. Enough is enough. And we know the time is short. You know, we know that judgment is coming, that, you know, Christ will rightfully execute the judgment on the evil ones. What do we do in the meantime? Because it's going to come a time where you're not going to be able to buy, sell, or trade unless you take a mark. We need to start organizing, start networking amongst ourselves. Make a plan in your area. Because it's going to get bad. People aren't just going to take this lying down and, excuse me, they're going to collapse the economy like they've been working on the last 4 years with this inflation. Working together, blue and red, to collapse the economy, and so that they can usher in their digitized bondage system where if you go to make a payment or you buy something, they're knowing what you're buying, at what time, where, and they want to know why. I mean, go to Walmart and get a MoneyGram or send a MoneyGram. They ask you why you're sending it, to whom, and then if you're receiving, they ask why. You can imagine the things I've said. And they don't want to give you your money, which is, why is Walmart, you know, unless they're a MoneyGram, Walmart to Walmart MoneyGram, is blockchain. And I think that's exactly what it is. I think people have been doing this for some time. And it's the frog in the boiling pot, more or less. But, you know, that's my soapbox for the day. I don't know how many people watched that ridiculous State of the Union speech last night. My father wanted me to watch it, my dad. I don't have any blood pressure medicine. I don't need to have a coronary, you know, or a heart attack because of my blood pressure going up, because it's already been with all the crap going on. I have enough health problems to deal with, trust me. Which is why I don't come on very much. So, anyways, I know it's the same old stuff I'm pretty much talking about, but I see what I see. And again, I can't stress organizing and networking right now, because there needs to be a plan. You know, we're going to be, you know, basically black sheep in society, for lack of a better word. A lot will be martyred. You know, God forbid, under this Noahide system, if you're a Christian. That's why America has bought so many guillotines. They had this plan. It started around before 2020, before Trump, back even when I believe Bush and Obama were buying them, purchasing them, and purchasing land to set up these detainment centers, and we know Walmart's involved in that too. So, network, organize, commute, because there needs to be a plan. We need to have a plan, and I made other videos stressing on the correct way in which a Christian should act. And I will tell you this, that the one thing, squirrel's on my tire. Squirrel! We are to be light. We are to be love in a world that is dark and hateful. And we're already dealing with the most hateful people on the earth, and that's the Zionist UJs. But if you're a Christian, then you should know Christ's word. And he had 2 commandments. Love and seek the Lord thy God with all thy mind, heart, and soul. And love others as he has loved us. So, it takes nothing, costs nothing to be kind. I'm not saying like you see somebody and you don't agree with how they're dressed or how they look, and that's just ridiculous and immature anyways. And if you're judging people by their outward appearance or any of that, then shame on you anyways. If you're hating people because they're different ethnicity of you, shame on you. If you're hating people because they don't vote the way you do, you're an idiot. And yeah, this kind of sounds hypocritical to what my message is right now, but grow up. Seriously. If you're hating someone because of how they look. And like even seeing someone that you don't agree with their lifestyle. Like, we know certain unions we don't agree with as Christians. We see certain people that want to be things that they're not. They want to be something other than what the Father has created them to be. And we don't agree with it. We know. Here's the thing. These people, I don't believe it's their fault at all. They weren't born this way, no. But we know with the use of things that they put in our food, things that they put in our water, and most of all, vaccines, which we receive from the time we're a baby to the time that we, grow up. And many, adults choose to get inoculated with these poisons that don't work and just make you sick and tear down your system. But from the kids today, the children today get almost 300% more inoculations than we did when I was a baby. And we know for a fact that these inoculations, these toxins that they're putting into us and our children, contain the cells from discarded human beings. And you got little boys that are being inoculated with stuff, and they end up getting the cells from a female that was taken too young. And those cells are going in and it's changing their DNA and infusing them with estrogen. And yes, but it's usually by the time we're puberty we start getting, the testosterone and estrogen and everything. But that is in our DNA sequencing. So what they're doing is they're taking DNA and corrupted DNA and they're putting it into human beings, and it turns into RNA. So it's basically a program, RNA. That's not natural. That's what this mRNA is, even more synthetic. So it's synthetic wiring, if you will. Synthetic programming. It's already, they're inserting diseases into your DNA to make it pass down from one generation. But my point is, so you could have a young, baby girl who is inoculated with something that has the cells from unborn male baby. And so they're getting all this male, testosterone sequencing put into their DNA. And so it's registering in their brain that I'm more male than I am female. And with the with the males, they're becoming effeminate. And that's why you have the rise of same union. And as for the ones that are becoming something that they're not and getting surgeries to do so, they've got it even worse because they believe, because of all this stuff that's been put into them and social programming and agendas taking place as well, that they are something other than what God created them to be, and God made a mistake, in other words. And God doesn't make mistakes. We know this. My point here is, it costs $0 to be kind to somebody. It costs nothing. I mean, so you are in the store and someone that's obviously not what they should be. You don't slam the door on their, run in the gas station or whatever and slam the door behind them. You hold the door. Be kind. Be polite. Okay, you're going out with a group of friends, and your group of friends has some friends that are, identify one way or the other. Well, here's the thing. It costs nothing to be kind to them. Jesus himself dined with sinners. The tax collectors were the scourge of society. He even dined with prostitutes, Mary Magdalene being one. That was one of his favorite apostles. She wasn't officially an apostle, but follower. I mean, so, and I know a lot of people, their argument is, well, these people don't believe in God, and they are atheists and stuff like that, and they make fun of us. Well, here's the thing. Did you ever think that for a second that maybe they're doing that because they were mistreated and, scorned by someone who called themselves a Christian? I mean, if you got someone spitting hellfire at you 24/7 and calling you names, adulterer, pervert, whatever, you're going to turn away thinking, if this is what God is and these people are representing him, I want nothing to do with that. By you doing that and treating people differently because they look different than you, or they voted different, their ideologies are different than you, then shame on you. Because that's not a Christian. Christ said to be kind to all people. Be kind to the foreigner in your land. He himself was a foreigner in the land. In fact, he was not even an Ujay. He was a Palestinian, because Bethlehem is in Palestine. Whatever's left of it. I mean, Israel was not a country. It was a kingdom. And Ishmael had just as much right to that land. So, if you want to argue this point, we can go back and forth. But I do believe that we serve a good and gracious and merciful God. I believe we serve a God of unending love and unconditional to a point. But he's a loving God. He's not this God that was made out to be scornful and loves barbecues and loves wars. I mean, that God, there is a God like that, and he's not a God per se. He's the fallen angel, and he's Satan. So if you're worshiping, your God is a God of perpetual war and perpetual hate and hellfire and brimstone, more than likely you're in the great delusion, and the God you're serving is actually Satan. And that's the God of the Zionists and the Ujays. Hashem, which is Shamiel, Satan, basically. Because we serve Yahweh, and we serve his son, Jesus Christ, who came and paid the penalty for the sins of man, all men. And even those of you who are saved, those of us who are saved, you are not perfect. You sin every day, and you sin unawareingly, because that is human nature. That is the nature of man. And, at the end of the day, we all have to say, I screwed up today. I got angry at that person, or I got impatient in traffic and I lashed out, or I told my boss I was going to be in, and I told him I didn't feel good, and that's a fib. I mean, a lie's a lie. I don't care what kind of palette you're putting on it. I mean, it is a lie. But, and I'm not saying, don't worry about that one anyways. I'm just saying, like, if you've ever told a friend that you were doing this or that, or a family member told you, oh, we're just sitting at home, and all the whole time they're having a party and they didn't invite you, yeah, they're lying. A lie's a lie. And to God, it's no different, a lie, one sin from another. And again, it costs $0 to be kind to someone and show kindness. And maybe by showing kindness and showing love and showing understanding, those people that, perpetuate a lifestyle which is, disgusted disgusting to God, more or less. Maybe by showing them kindness and what God's really about, we can lead them to Christ. Even if living in sin, which we all are, we're all living in sin. But we're saved. And we know at the end of the day that He has mercies and grace for us. Those who believe in Him. And we can go round and round about eschatology all day. I know a lot of you are still hooked on the whole Hebrew roots movement. Some of you are, which is basically a Zionist move to get you conditioned to accepting one God, their God, and the Noahide laws. But I digress. It was infiltration of Christianity. It's psyop, in other words. And, all these other eschatologies that teach just hate. Look at MAGA. The MAGA Christian movement. With Paula White leading it. And she's a evangelical new apostolic reformation or some crap like that. And she's a Jezebel. She's been divorced twice. She's cheated. And she's stolen money from her parishioners and lied. So that's what you got leading your maggot movement. And I pray that each and every one of you who are stuck in deluded by MAGA and by Donald Trump thinking he's going to come around and give you wealth, which the wealth transfer happened already, and it's the billionaires, again, who own all the wealth. Again, final message, takeaways from this video. Be kind to others. Show kindness, be light, be salt. That's what He called us to be. You can disagree, but disagree silently. You don't have to throw hate. You don't have to throw stones, because every time you point your finger, 3 more point back to you, baby. And those fingers belong to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So when you're pointing your finger above those other 3, you're calling yourself judge, jury, and executioner. That your judgment is more righteous than God's. And it's not for you to judge. You can point out someone's doing wrong. You can point out someone's doing that and living this way or that way. But if you got to get nasty about it and threaten them with this or that, no damn wonder people are hating on Christians. No damn wonder we are being persecuted. We the real church, not the lukewarm church. Keep that in mind. Because judgment's coming, and I would hate to hear anybody hear those horrible words we all dread. We all worry about hearing the words, "Depart from me, you worker of iniquity, I never knew you." No one wants to hear that. And I would hope that you don't want to hear those words. So drop the pride, your ego, and thinking you're never wrong and that you're justified because this person said that, or your leader is Donald Trump. That's a bad example. I mean, he's literally the Antichrist. So, anyways, something to chew on. TikTok, time is running short. And by the way, speaking of TikTok, if you're on TikTok, look me up. I'm Queen Boheme. I'm on there. I'm trying to upload videos that I saved from TikTok and some of my lives on here to upload on YouTube, so that way I can generate enough views on YouTube, which will really help me if you can. All of you will go to YouTube and hit follow or subscribe and like my videos, so that way I can get that in the algorithm, and so I can do some live videos. And if you're wanting to, we can even do like a live, conference type thing, shoot the shit. Anyways, I hope you will do that for me. Go to Jen B, Truther for Life on YouTube, and Queen Boheme on TikTok, and hit follow and like. I deeply appreciate it. Share my videos. Also appreciated. And stand with Palestine. God bless, and I love each and every one of you.